Okay, welcome to What's for Lunch. We're in week 2, and I'm Frankie Mascow, parenting support worker for KSCS, and I'm here today with some lovely people.
Hello everyone, I'll be cooking today. I'm Trudy Jacobs. I'm also a parenting worker. That's my other half. And we have Chantel.
Very good, everybody. I'm Chantal Haddad, nutritionist at Cattery Hospital, and welcome back to What's for Lunch. And today we are continuing with our community favorites theme with Trudy, who's so gracious to show us. And what are we having today?
We are making corn soup, one of our favorites.
Amazing. So what's in our kits, Frankie?
So everybody who signed up to be part of the program receives a free kit of ingredients. And what you're going to be getting this week is some white hominy. You're going to be getting a can of red kidney beans. I'm sensing a theme here. We had kidney beans last week. You're going to be getting a turnip, some cabbage.
A big cabbage.
Oh, yeah,
That's a big one.
They were big. And some carrots. And if I'm not mistaken, you're also going to be getting some pork. I was calling them huffs.
I was giggling like nobody's business. We have a nice big package of corn. See, you got me saying it now.
Corn huffs.
Yeah. Pork hocks. Okay, this is where the flavor for your broth comes from. So depending on the pot of soup, we're sending 4 hocks, but depending on the size of soup you make, you may want 2, you may want 3, and if you have a big family, you may want all 4. So what you're going to do is throw this in a big pot of water, salt and pepper to taste, and just let it boil. I let mine boil a good 2.5 hours before I even start adding the vegetables. And what Chantal noted was that when you're cooking the pork, you're going to see a foam and a froth on top of the water. Just skim that off. Okay? It's part of the process. It's part of the meat cooking. Just clean it off, because she was grossed out by it.
I find that when you, it's like when you boil a whole chicken or any kind of, with the first step to the soup to get your broth, you always get that foam.
Yeah,
and it's
filmy,
like
yucky.
icky looking foam. So don't worry about it. It's normal. It's supposed to be there. Skim it off, and then just can you pass that hop
Sure.
over here? So Tyson.
Our huffs.
So you see that it's the piece of meat that has a lot of fat, but it has the bones and it has all that connective tissue. That's what gives you your flavor in your soup. So that's what, when you boil it down, that's your basis for your soup, your broth. And if you're ahead of yourself, you could even do it the day before, and you could let it cool down, and that way you could skim off some of the fat, because there is quite a bit of fat that rises to the top. So that's optional. That's what I would do. The dietitian.
We're not all
That's what the dietitian does. All right, we could put that back.
So just a quick question. Is this a recipe that you have to use that type of meat, or is there another type of meat?
Some people will use a piece of pork.
Okay, so a
pork loin. It depends on, but for me, corn soup is the pork hocks.
Okay.
You know, that's what I do.
The flavor is unique.
Yeah.
Of that pork hock. It's really nice.
Yeah. So what I'm going to show you is that when you get your cabbage, okay, you're going to take off the outer layers, okay? And then you're going to cut it in half. And you're going to make wedges, okay? So right down the middle, and watch your fingers. Always keep your fingers on top of the knife, and I find it easier if you seesaw the knife through it, because cabbage is very, very hard. So you're gonna make a few cuts into your cabbage.
So is this a family favorite in your home, Trudy?
No. Not everybody likes corn soup, but it is what it is. So as you can see, the wedges are made, okay? And you're going to put these in the pot as wedges. You don't need to cut it up in small pieces, and there's a reason for that, and I'll show you later. Also, your turnip. okay? You're gonna peel it however you want. Chantel used a vegetable peeler. You can use a paring knife, whatever it is you have at home. Just take off the outer layer. And Chantel, can you tell us what happened when you tried to slice up this beautiful turnip?
So the turnip was really hard. So I went, by instinct, what you want to do, or what I wanted to do, is go cut in the middle, and then I was going to cut it. But then my knife got stuck in the middle, and I was like this. So
and she was pounding the table, but it still wouldn't go through.
All right, so there
is a trick.
Obviously, I don't cut turnip that often.
Yeah.
So what's your trick, Trudy?
So this is done already, but what I would do is cut a slice on the end, okay, so it's flat. So when you place it on your table, you're just going to cut slices rather than cutting through the whole of the vegetable, which is very, very hard to do.
So I missed that. I missed that whole excitement.
All that fun.
So here is our peeled turnip, and it's on a flat side. So then you're just going to cut all through. And it's going to be about a 1/4 inch. What you want to achieve is bite-sized pieces, okay? So then from there, you will cut again. Okay, so this is what you end up with. Okay, looks like very fat fries,
I'm
yeah.
gonna say Trudy always makes it look so easy.
And then you cut again. Again, it's about 1/4 size pieces. So now you're going to get bite-sized chunks, okay? These two are a little bit big. Okay, didn't cut all the way through, that's why.
Yeah, they're stuck together.
So that's how you would chop up your turnip.
And that takes a while to cook, right?
Yes.
Maybe that's the longest vegetable to cook?
Yeah, because it's so dense of a vegetable, it takes a lot of time to cook. So I'm just going to put that on the side for now. Some people like carrots, some people don't. It's optional, it's up to you. We're putting carrots in today.
It adds nice color for sure.
Adds color and also a little bit of a flavor. So again, you want to make long, skinny pieces.
So would there be another vegetable that you could replace? Because then obviously there's just cabbage, turnips, and
No, your cabbage, your turnips, your beans, and your corn are the base. A lot of people like adding carrots just to get carrots in the soup, get their kids to eat it. Right?
I've also seen it made without vegetables, just corn and
Oh,
beans
really?
Yeah.
and the meat. So it's optional, but a lot of people these are vegetables that grow in the garden, they're local, they're healthy, so it's a way to incorporate them.
Okay, so again, see I've got all my little pieces.
Sticks.
Yep, my sticks, and again, it's just making 1/4 inch cuts. Oh, there goes my towel.
would you say too that the cabbage would help give a little bit more flavor to the soup as well?
The cabbage adds flavor, the turnips add flavor, the corn and beans add flavor. Everything adds different types of flavor. That's why corn soup, you start early in the morning. You let your hocks cook about 2.5 hours. You want that meat tender. And then you throw in your veggies and let it go the rest of the day. By supper time, you'll be ready to eat because you want those vegetables to marry. Okay, for all the flavors to come together and create your base of soup.
So what do you do with the meat? Like you put in a big hunk of meat into the soup.
Yeah.
What do you do after with that?
Well, you would take it out and you would, hang on a minute, let me grab my cutting board.
Yeah, I was curious too because I think I had asked if the meat shreds apart. Like
Yeah,
sometimes
I think
know,
you
when
have to
make it,
actually do it.
and you have
yeah.
to do it yourself. It's not like chicken broth.
The longer you cook the meat, the more tender it'll be. Okay, so this has not been cooking very long for the process of what we're doing here today, but it should just fall apart. Okay, this I doubt will fall apart, but that's cutting through. So the meat you're just going to cut again into pieces. Okay, so that when you grab a spoonful, you get a little bit of meat, you get a little bit of broth, and you get a little bit of the vegetable. Take off all the fat. You don't want the fat anymore.
Now when you do this at home, Trudy, do you use your hands?
No,
No?
it's too hot. Unless you put it on the side
Let
for
it
a little
cool
bit
down
and
a
let it
bit.
cool down. This is way too hot. I just took it out of the boiling water,
Yeah.
so I'm not touching it with my fingers. I value my fingers because it does burn. My mother does it, and I'm like, Ma, how can you do this?
How do you do it?
She has a high tolerance for
It's called experience.
temperature, and yeah, she'll take things out of the pot. I'm like, oh my God. I'm dying on the side watching her do this, but she's so used to it. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
She doesn't get burnt either.
Let
That's
it cool
what.
down a bit and then,
Yeah, that's
then
what
go at it.
really gets me. I'm like, she doesn't get burnt, but I don't suggest it to anyone else.
So please do not do this at home.
Once you've cut up all your meat, okay, you're going to throw it back in the pot.
So do you put the fat back in there?
You can, because if you're like my husband, you like the fat. I don't.
Okay.
But some people do. You know, that's again, you're talking about preference. Oh, I just lost part of the fat. That's going in the garbage. So I'm going to put my pork hock that's still not cooked enough back in my pot.
So there's so many different steps to this soup. A lot of learning. I'm learning a lot of
Yeah.
things.
So we're going to add our ingredients to the larger pot that's cooking now. So there goes my carrots. There go my turnips. And we need to add our cabbage.
I really need to chop these. I'll chop up
Yeah.
the rest of the...
So Chantal, have you ever made corn soup?
Personally, no. I've never made it myself, no. But it's the similar technique whenever I make a chicken soup. Like I'll take a whole chicken, I'll boil it to death, then I'll take it apart and that'll be my broth, and then I'll add whatever else is going in there. Yeah. So no, but I love corn soup, but I've never made it myself. So what about the hominy and the kidney beans?
The hominy I'll put in now just for the sake of making our soup. But the hominy and kidney beans are at the end of the process because they don't really need that much cooking time, but they do need to cook within the broth so that you get the flavor from
Right.
the corn hominy and the kidney beans. So in the pot they go.
And they, we opened it and we drained it and rinsed them. So again, that's, Trudy, you were telling me that's optional?
Yeah, some people will just throw it right in because
As is.
you're adding flavor from the juices from the beans and the corn. So some people rinse, some
Yeah.
people don't. That's again preference. What we have, I'm going to show you.
What I noticed too is there's no added salt here. So
We do add
it's just when you were boiling.
when
the
you're
meat,
cooking
right?
the meat, salt and pepper to
That's
taste,
it.
and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you want, you can salt and pepper in your own bowl. But you can see here, okay. I know when it's cooked when this just falls apart. See, it's not.
Cabbage?
Yeah, it's not. It's still not.
Not quite.
Not quite. And if you look at the turnips, they're starting. You'll see they become translucent.
Oh yeah,
Like
they change
I can
color.
see,
Yeah.
they're, you know, on the edges it's translucent, but in the very center, it's still a hard color. So these veggies are not quite done yet. But see how the cabbage is coming soft?
Mm-hmm.
Once it falls apart from the core, because that's what we did the wedge, right? Here, I'm going to show it to you. Okay, see how it's falling apart? Once all those leaves come off, you're pretty much done. And for me, corn soup is best the second day. And that's because all of the vegetables, the meat, the juice all come together and it creates the body of your soup. It gets thicker just from the veggies and the cabbage. So if you want to try,
Yeah, for sure.
try a little taste. Chantal's going to continue cutting up our turnips and we'll add that to
So
our
this is
soup.
going to be really interesting for all you viewers because I'm not a pork eater. Everybody knows I don't like bacon and I get a lot of hype for that. But so I think I have tried corn soup for one of our, maybe we had done an event here at the Family Wellness Center and I don't remember if I liked it. So this is like going
We're gonna find out.
Yeah.
We're going to see if she likes
Yeah.
corn
But I
soup.
am a fan of cabbage. I do love carrots. Turnips, not so much. But I guess it depends on the process of how it's cooked. That I could get used to it.
So here's our
You're
wonderful
open-
bowl of
You're
soup.
open to
I'm
trying.
open to trying.
Frankie, that's.
We have everything
really
in there. We have the hominy, the kidney beans. Here's our little bit of a turnip. We've got the meat. Here's a little piece of cabbage. There's other pieces of cabbage that you can see. There you go. Give it a try.
So I'm also curious, because it is called corn soup. Are you able to just use regular corn, or does it have to be
No, it's good.
hominy?
It's the hominy corn. There's something about the hominy corn
That
that,
gives it a flavor?
yeah, because the regular corn is not the same as hominy.
Okay. Yeah, I could tell you guys, when I came upstairs in the kitchen, I could smell the corn, a little bit of the cabbage, but really the smell of the corn was very apparent. And
By the time this soup is done, you'll smell the cabbage.
Exactly.
okay.
Oh, it
Be
looks
very
hot.
careful. It's hot.
Do you
looks
notice
hot.
I'm not taking any pork?
The veggies may still be. They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, nice flavor. Very good. It's already tasty.
It's getting there, yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
we've only been doing this for about an hour and a half, and like I
Wow.
said, two and a half
time.
hours for the pork alone. Then you add your
Wow.
vegetables.
And I have to say, I think that the turnip in this soup is like, you need that. That's what I'm tasting.
Yeah, all the flavors are there for a reason, you know.
Amazing.
Really good.
So Chantel was asking me a question. Can you make this in a crock pot? Yes, you can. What I would suggest you do is put your hocks on the bottom, salt and pepper, add your vegetables. You're going to add your turnips first, then your carrots, then your cabbage. In that order, for the simple reason that they take longer to cook. Put your hominy corn on top of that and your kidney beans on top of that, and fill your crock pot to the max with water. Turn it on and just let it go, and by the time you get home for supper, you'll have
That sounds
a beautiful
so good.
Oh
soup.
my god, and I'm sure it smells delicious when you walk in.
Right.
So just to remind you guys, you know, the reason why we have Trudy here is because we know there's a lot of people who are a little bit afraid to try these types of recipes. They're unsure. Maybe it wasn't even taught to them. So this was why we wanted to have her here. But also, she makes it look easy. And honestly, like last week we made the cornbread, and it really, like, I got a lot of feedback that it's not that hard. You know what? Like, I guess just trial and error, and you keep practicing it. And I think it's the same for this. And I think what I really liked about you showing this recipe was there's not a lot of, like, I mean, there's prep work obviously, but there's not a lot of crazy chopping that we have to do. So these are things probably families could get prepared even in advance when they know, and then they're ready to start everything. And letting it cook all day, you know, it's one of those
Yep.
things. Throw it in a pot, you can go out and do your things, and you get back and your soup is ready. And I think what's great too is, I mean, we saw the size of the meat. You make a big huge pot, you could feed a gang quite large.
Have a look at the size of the pot.
Right.
A huge pot.
And there's
in
only
there.
3 hocks in this pot.
So the ingredients you have in your kit could make you 2 pots of soup, I would think, or 1 huge pot of soup. So
If you're gonna split it 2 and 2, then cut your veggies in half as well.
Exactly.
So that
Yeah, half
you
and
can.
half.
So, I mean, if anybody has any questions, you can always use the feed under our video to relay them, or you can reach out to me, Frankie M at kscsganawage.ca, and I'll get that to Trudy, and Trudy will be so grateful to share whatever information you're looking for. And just to let you guys know, we'll be back here next week when we're in week 3 already. Wow, the time's going so fast. And we'll be back here with Trudy again, showing us another great recipe, and we hope you enjoy this.
It'll complement the corn soup and something else. So this is a hint.
So you better tune in
next week.
So do we have anything else we wanted to share on that regard?
Nope, we are good. Your soup should be boiling, and we should be eating about maybe 1 o'clock if our timing is correct. So thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure sharing my recipes with you.